Now, there's many types of reactors that can achieve this progression for composting. And again, our important thing is making sure we get oxygen to our microbes and keep our pile well aerated. We also want to control odor and leachate. So each of these reactors does this in a different way. One of the simplest, most common ones is shown on the left. These are called windrows. So to maximize surface area, the compost is put out in long rows so that it's kind of like a radiator. We have a lot of surface area, and there's a machine that can actually flip the pile over every few days to get that temperature mixed throughout the pile as is required by the different regulations. And that's the little machine you can see in the picture here. It just drives over them and flips everything over. Beside that on the right is a aerated static pile. So a static pile, unlike a windrow, it's not turned. That's why it's a static pile. And you can have a passive static pile. So it just kind of sits there and relies on diffusion to aerate. This one, if you look on the ground, you can see some aeration pipes underneath the pile. So those are actually supplying air or vacuum under the pile to mix the air coming through it. Here's a couple more. So in those previous ones, they're kind of just free form pile. You can also have some walls, so like a bin system, and that can be, again, passive, or it can have aeration supplied under the floor in an active system. On the right, these are similar to windrows, but they've got these silvery space age looking covers on them. And these covers are actually made of gore material, which is the same you might have if you have a really nice rain jacket. And the advantage of this is we have a lot of the advantages of windrows in that it's fairly low capital intensive. It's just kind of outdoor, but we get a little bit better odor control by being able to cover them, and then we can modulate the moisture and the temperature and things more easily. And these typically will have an aeration system underneath the rows as well. So that's Gore composting system, kind of in between an outdoor and an indoor system. And then we've got some of our indoor systems. So on the left is an agitated bed system. So this is kind of like the bin, the outdoor bin I showed you, kind of like the windrow as well. So we've got these channels with aeration in the bottom and the materials placed in them. And then there's a machine that goes up and down them and flips them over. So this would be kind of inside a facility and contained, and it's pretty intensive. We've got the mixing from the air and the mixing from the mechanical mixer. We got a rotating drum. So this is like a big version of our compost cow on campus. So again, just more ways to flip the material over and get more air contacting it. And this one's completely enclosed as well, so easier to control the odor and aeration into this type of system. And then we have tunnels. Now, tunnels are commonly used where you want to have really tight odor control. So it's completely indoors. Kind of looks a lot like a dry AD system. So you have this big door that you open up. In the bottom left picture, you can see this is before construction. All the aeration nozzles that are under the floor supplying that aeration. And then the top left, you can see the big aeration headers that are pushing that air into the system. But in the tunnels, everything's placed inside, it's closed up, and then the air is just blasted through. So it's like a aerated static pile with walls and a roof, and everything is contained. And then all your odor can be easily moved off to treatment, whereas an outdoor aerated static pile, you wouldn't be able to do that.